The fluorescent lights in the police station lobby buzzed in a tired rhythm, a sound that blended into the stale quiet of the room. Evening shadows stretched long across the tiles, broken only by the glow from Officer Danielle's computer screen. 14-year-old Kayla Brooks sat in a row of plastic chairs that felt harder than they looked, the kind that made your spine fold in on itself if you sat too long. She hugged her backpack to her chest like armor, her fingers curled tightly around one of the straps, knuckles pale and strained. She had run all the way here. Her lungs still burned in small bursts, and her legs trembled each time she shifted. But it wasn't the running that rattled her, it was the memory of footsteps behind her, steady, too steady, matching her pace, then slowing when she slowed. And the voice. The way one of the men had spoken her name like he owned it. Like he had every right to say it. Kayla swallowed hard, glancing toward the station entrance for what felt like the 100th time. Every time the doors slid open for someone else, her heart jumped. Every time it wasn't her mom, disappointment tightened in her chest. She knew her mother wasn't late, not really. Mom was never late. She was probably already moving, already on her way, already analyzing every possibility faster than any of the officers in this building. Behind the counter, Officer Daniels leaned back in his rolling chair, tapping loudly on his keyboard with 2 fingers. He was older, maybe in his late 40s, with a belly that strained against his uniform shirt and a mug decorated with a fading, "World's Best Dad" slogan resting beside the monitor. His expression bounced between bored and mildly irritated, as though handling anything more stressful than a noise complaint was a personal inconvenience. "So," he said without looking up, his voice flat, "you're telling me your mom told you to come here if something happened?" Kayla nodded. "Yes, sir." "And what exactly happened?" he asked, using air quotes that made her flinch internally. She drew a breath, trying to steady her voice. "2 men were following me. Near the old train tracks, by the storage units." She shifted her backpack, as though the pressure of it could shield her from the memory. "I think they were watching our apartment earlier too. My mom said if anything weird like that happened, I should go someplace safe." She hesitated. "So I came here." For the first time, Daniels lifted his eyes from the screen. He studied her, his gaze flicking from her shoes to her braids to the anxious tap of her foot. There was a flicker of concern, but it passed quickly, swallowed by something more dismissive. "Well," he sighed loudly. "Were they doing anything suspicious besides existing near you?" Kayla frowned. "They said my name." That finally made him straighten in his seat. "They said your name?" "Yes," she said. "And not like they guessed it. They said it like they already knew it." Her fingers tightened around the backpack strap. "They said, 'Kayla, where you headed?'" She shivered slightly. "Like we were friends or something. But I've never seen them before." The officer rubbed the back of his neck. "Okay, that part's concerning," he admitted. "But look, kids your age sometimes misinterpret situations. Maybe they heard it somewhere. Maybe." "No," Kayla interrupted softly but firmly. "They weren't random." He blinked at her, surprised by her confidence. "Well, did your mom ever mention enemies or something?" he joked weakly. Kayla didn't laugh. "My mom doesn't talk about her work." Daniels raised an eyebrow. "Not at all?" "She can't," Kayla said simply. He chuckled. "Oh? And why's that?" Kayla hesitated. She hated saying it out loud because it always sounded like a lie, even though it wasn't. "She's in special forces." The officer froze mid-keystroke. Then a slow, incredulous grin spread across his face. "Sweetheart," he began, lifting his mug for a sip of coffee, "you know how many kids come in here claiming their parents are secret agents? Or spies? Or, what was the last one? Yeah, a ninja." He laughed to himself. "Ninjas. Real clever." Kayla's cheeks grew warm. "I'm not making it up." He waved a hand dismissively. "It's okay. Look, I get it. You're scared. You probably wanted your mom to sound tougher so I'd take this seriously." But she wasn't scared of being dismissed. She was scared of those men, of the way they moved, the way they seemed to know exactly where she was going. Her mother had taught her what to watch for, patterns, posture, distance, intention. Those men hadn't been wandering. They hadn't been lost. They had been watching. Officer Daniels leaned forward, resting his elbows on the desk. Listen, she probably works a normal job. What is she? Post office? Maybe a nurse? Bus driver? Kayla shook her head firmly. She's a sergeant major. She's deployed a lot. She trains all the time. Daniels let out a sharp laugh, cutting her off. Sergeant major? In special forces? He shook his head. Kid, if I had $1 for every time someone tried that line. I'm not lying, she said, the words slipping out louder than she intended. Her voice cracked, embarrassed, but she didn't look away. The officer softened slightly, though he still wasn't taking her seriously. It's all right. Really? He typed something into his computer, more to look busy than anything else. You're safe here. Nothing's going to happen. Kayla didn't respond. She stared at her knees, feeling that familiar mixture of frustration and dread knotting in her chest. Adults always reacted the same way, like they thought she watched too many movies, like she was playing pretend. But she remembered nights when her mom came home late, boots dusty, shoulders heavy, eyes sharp and weary. She remembered being told not to answer the door unless mom texted first. She remembered the quiet drills in the living room, how to move silently, how to breathe, how to watch without being seen. She remembered the urgency in her mother's voice this morning when she said, if anything feels off today, go directly to the station. I'll meet you. Her mom never sounded urgent unless she meant it. Kayla shifted, her knee bouncing. She'll be here soon, she whispered. Daniels didn't hear her. Or maybe he didn't care. The station was quiet except for the low chatter of two officers by the bulletin board. One of them was scrolling through his phone. The other was eating something that smelled like microwaved noodles. A printer somewhere in the back room whirred, spitting out papers. The mundane normalcy of the station felt wrong, too calm, too slow for the storm she knew was brewing. Kayla watched the doors again. The lobby felt colder with every passing minute. She pulled her hoodie sleeves over her hands, rubbing her palms on the fabric. What's taking her so long? She murmured. Daniels finally looked over, brow raised. Who? My mom, Kayla said. She said she was close. Daniels chuckled one more time. Sure. Let me guess, she's going to come bursting in wearing night vision goggles too? Kayla didn't answer. Her heart was pounding too loudly to bother arguing anymore. She knew her mom. She knew what happened when someone messed with her family. She knew that if her mother was coming, she was coming fast. And whoever those men were, whoever they thought they were, they had no idea what they'd just started.